Oh, hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Third save file, just really cruising right along. We haven't done, oh, you know what it is? We did Blue Baby when we were eating that time, right? Eve, Isaac, let's do some Eve. We very rarely choose to play Eve. Don't you sneeze on me, cat. Don't you sneeze on me. You just sleep. K3 HP, LBC 1. With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being me, EVE, but I somehow, some way, keep coming up with damage ups every time I lose some HP. May I pick up a little damage up, maybe get a little spirit heart too. 8th run in a row, and you get the idea, we tried. That's Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg. Rapper, cookbook writer, Little League football coach, alleged murderer. But that was way back in the day. That was like 1993. It's been a while. And has, you know, is man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? I'm just saying. Here's the thing. I don't know whether or not Snoop Dogg was involved in that person's death. What I do know is that as far as early 90s hip-hop albums go, Doggy Style banged pretty hard. Gin and Juice, well, Nothing But a G Thing. That wasn't on Doggy Style, that was on The Chronic by the Doctor of Dre, so disregard that. Still, it bangs, is all I'm trying to say. When Ricky Martin said, oh, she bangs, ooh, baby, when she moves, I go crazy. Because she looks like a flower, but she stings like a bee, like every girl in history. You hear these lyrics all the time. Ricky Martin has a problem with the fairer sex. I understand that later in life, he came out as gay, and that's fine. Obviously, nothing wrong with that. But he's singing these songs. She looks like a flower, but she stings like a bee, like every girl in history. Nobody's holding him to task over these comments. It's kind of a rude thing to say. He's lumping all women together. Here's the thing. Some women probably look like a bee and sting like a bee. See a little subversion there. You would have expected I would be like, some women look like a flower and they also smell like a flower. Nah, son, they all got stingers. That's not true. But for the purposes of this joke, it did work better that way. Anyway, plus, some men look like a flower, but they sting like a bee. But Ricky Martin's not saying like every man in history. I'm just saying, I think it's, for an inoffensive pop song, it's given a pretty bad message to the nation's youth, is all I'm trying to come across with there. So we got another Spirit Heart, which I feel amazing about, and then Egghead blocked the damage on the way in, which is disgusting, and basically we're insanely lucky. No blood bank, but hopefully we'll be able to get Whore of Babylon just by removing all of our HP when we go to our deal with the devil, which we're basically guaranteed. You know, it's the oldest song in the world, but I have this problem with the orbital. That's gonna result in me taking damage if I'm not paying attention, but the 2.63 damage that Eve starts with makes it so the orbital is so nice. So I am using it. You know it's ultimate BM because I'm not shooting either. Okay, just wait for him to go. Then, that's where you sneak in. You gotta admit, here's the thing. You're probably like, what are you doing, you fool? But 2.63 damage is legitimately when you're at the point where you're like, you know, I'm done. We're gonna use this orbital for nefarious purposes. And you know what part of it is? Part of it is that, you know, we can do it effectively, usually. Part of it is that we've got HP to burn. And part of it is that we just played so much of this dang game that I've lost a little bit of my edge. And in this case, by edge, I just mean ability to suffer. And I think about that now as I've gotten older. When I was in college, I was so unbelievably low maintenance. Multiple times, you can ask Malf about this. You know, we'd have a get-together with friends of ours. This is gonna sound like it's something 18 plus. And it's not. At least not for the reasons you'd be thinking. But there'd be 8 or 9 dudes, and we'd be like, should we get 2 hotel rooms? And you're like, that's crazy. 2 hotel rooms. What are we made of money? We'll take one hotel room, 3 people per bed, and then 2 people can sleep on the floor, and we'll rotate every night. And we made it work. Now, we didn't wake up and go, ah, what a wonderful, restful sleep we had there. We usually woke up after like 5 hours of sleep, and we're like, yo, this sucks. I'm going to sleep on the floor tomorrow because 3 to a bed is too many. Then if you wake up on the floor, you go, yo, my back hurts. This is insane. I'm going to sleep in the bed because I'd rather be crowded than, you know, have a spine deficiency by the time I'm 30. But anyway, the point is I'm going to see my chiropractor this weekend. Now, the point is now, you know, we don't do that. You know, we very rarely do we opt to, like, do a road trip or something like that to save $100 if we could just fly and save a day instead. You know, and part of that is because, you know, as you get older, you tend to become a little bit more financially stable. It's probably not true for everybody, but in college, you know, my annual income was maybe somewhere between $3,000 and $4,500 Canadian a year. It's very low. Not when you're, you know, I had no expenses either, so it's not like I was living a terribly impoverished life. It was pretty much mostly fun money, but apart from that, you know, you got to make it spread. You know, you can't be going out getting an appetizer and an entree is what I'm saying. What you do is you get an appetizer and an entree, and then you say, hey, can you bring out the appetizer second in a box so I can take it home and eat it? Not that that really saves you money in the whole scheme of things, I guess, but let's go down. I think we're ready to go. Now we can, you know, financially we got the opportunity to be a little bit more flexible. But part of it is also that you just, I always wondered, I was like, man, why are my parents like, why do my parents sometimes like spring for first class on the train? Don't they know that it's like $100 extra each? And the answer is twofold. One is free wine. The other one is I think you just reach a point where if you have the means in your life at some point, you just go, you know what? I've dealt with 52 years of garbage and stress, cleaning up messes that didn't always belong to me. So yeah, who's first class for on the train today? It's for me. I can understand that. Maybe I shouldn't have taken blood bag there. I wasn't really thinking straight. I haven't reached that point. I'm somewhere in between. I'm still at the point where if I try to stay agile, because I think once you lose that edge, I mean, I know like 50-year-old dudes who are still like, hey, you know, when I go camping, I don't even use a tent. I just sleep on some rocks outside. And I'm like, dude, that is, on the one hand, you would think that I would think that is admirable. I don't. I think that is crazy. I think that it, you know, if it works for you, more power to you, and you're saving money in the process as well. But I do not aspire to that level. But I also don't aspire to the level where I ever walk into like a hotel and go, you know, oh, this is not 5 stars, blah, blah, blah. Trying to keep myself somewhere in the middle. Because, you know, being flexible is a valid and important life skill. I think, at least. I think it improves your happiness. But yeah, we did some grimy get-togethers. We have done multiple hotel room get-togethers in the past, and, you know, once people were ready to spring for it, it was a good situation. But you can get, like, you know, 6 or 7 people together, $70 each for 3 or 4 days of accommodations. It's pretty incredible. Like, just on a logistical level that could happen. Slept on the floor many a time. Couches are, like... Now that's like my #1 thing. I would like a good sleeping space. I don't want to, I'll pay extra to not have to sleep on a couch. I'll pay a lot extra to not have to sleep on a floor. Those are 2 big ones. Apart from that, what do I want out of a hotel room? Nothing, dude. I do not care. I don't want a coffee machine. Have you heard of this place? It's called Starbucks. It's taken over planet Earth. You were probably, in some hotels, you are probably closer to the nearest Starbucks outside than you are to the coffee machine inside of your own hotel room. Do not give me the distances. I know it's true in some circumstances. You don't have to fact check it. Fact checking is when you think you might be wrong. If you know you're right, you don't have to do the research. We stayed, when we went to Las Vegas. Sorry, I'm trying to pronounce it in the American way. You know, those 2 American words. Las and Vegas. For Final Fantasy Fan Fest, we got bumped to a suite, which was cool, but also very, very strange. Because I was like, who on earth... I've never had a suite before or since at a hotel. This was actually insane. It had one bed, it was very large, 3 bathrooms. I don't understand. How many people do you think you got sleeping in that bed that would need to defecate simultaneously? The whole idea, I think, is that at some point, it just became like opulence for opulence's sake. Like you'd have to get your money's worth out of a place like that. You really had to be the kind of person that would be like, dude, the hotel room is so cool. I never pooped in the same toilet twice. That is, if something you aspire to, if that's something you aspire to, first off, I got a hotel I can recommend you. Secondarily, why? But okay, you know, you do you. There was a TV in the bedroom. It came out of the end table at the foot of the bed. So you would hit a button on the remote, and it would, like the power button for the TV would also raise the hydraulic lift that, well, I don't know if it was hydraulic, but anyway. It would raise the lift that hid the TV away. Very strange and completely unnecessary. Also really bad because somehow the power buttons had gotten out of sync. So when you press the button, it would turn the TV off and raise it so you could see the black screen, or it would turn the TV on but sink it inside of a piece of furniture so you could hear it but not see it. So again, one of those, you know, you thought about whether or not you could, but not whether or not you should. So I mean, you know, I live the life of an international jet setter. I've stayed in some great hotels. I've stayed in some, you know, not traditionally fancy hotels, particularly in Japan. You know, Western style hotels are expensive. I've stayed in a lot of, you know, very, very, very tiny hotel rooms where basically, if one person, like if Kate is standing up, I have to be on the bed because there would be no room for her to move around otherwise. And you know what I thought when I was in that room? Sick. Great excuse to lay down. I was totally fine with that. I've been happier in that hotel room than I've been in some 4-star hotels that I've been to in my entire life. I always, and again, this might be a bit of a insular bit, but hotels are always weird to me. I wish I could just mark something on check-in that is like, I'll give you an example, lest you just think that I am, you know, a whiny piece of garbage. When I went to West Hollywood to preview Hitman 2, it's no secret at this point, I don't like to be away from my home, my family, and my job for long periods of time, unless it's like a vacation that Kate and I are taking together, in which case it's better. But, you know, I like streaming, I like making YouTube videos, and if I'm taking time away from that, it's stressful for me, because I feel like it's a dereliction of duty. But on top of that, if it's for a reason that's kind of like secondary, like, hey, I'm previewing a game that I could just play when it comes out, it feels like I'm making a bad trade, basically. So I went down, because well, there were many reasons, you know. I could see Hitman 2. I loved Hitman 1. It might have been my favorite game of 2016, so got a chance to preview that. And, you know, to some extent, the novelty of, like, I get to play it before anybody else does has not worn off. You know, it's still very flattering. The companies are like, you know, hey, we'd like you to check this out. Feels nice. And I go, hey, tighten up the graphics on level 3. And they go, never invite that guy again. But anyway, I also got a chance to see, you know, some of my friends in LA, which was nice. But regardless, I flew in. I didn't get to the hotel until like roughly 11:30 or midnight. And I was checking out the next day. Checkout's at 10. So it's 12. Basically, I'm there for 10 hours. I'm there to sleep. Full stop. That's the end of the line. And I'm not going to go to the cursed room because I'm worried about our Spirit Heart Devil placement stuff here. But Devil Precedent, I should say. Or Devil Chance, really. Because if I lose the Spirit Heart, I won't be able to guarantee myself a deal with the devil next time. Anyway, when I was checking in, the person checking me in was like, hey, just so you know, there's like a gym on the second floor, and there's a pool on the upper floor. It's closed right now, but it opens at 8 a.m. And like, you just need to use your key card and scan it there. And if you need any laundry or anything done while you're here, there's a laundry bag in the closet. Just put your clothes in there and then mark it on the door, and they'll come and pick it up and drop it off the next day. And I was very politely just being like, oh, cool, yeah, all right, cool, I understand. But I wanted to be like, I'm here for 8 hours. There should be like an expedited check-in that is like, come on. Maybe someone, and I'm not saying me, maybe someone's going to the gym. You know, these CEO type A personalities, they arrive at the hotel, they've already suffered all day. Oh. I took a 12-hour flight in first class, but they didn't have any rosé. You know? When they get to the hotel, they're like, just got to get a quick 5K in on the treadmill, and then I'm good to go to sleep for 4 hours before my big meeting tomorrow. That's fine. I understand that some people are doing that, but come on. You know your audience to some extent. If I'm at your hotel for 8 hours, I'm not really doing much beyond that. I flew out right after the event. And I said, wow, that was still too much time to spend in LA. No offense. It's just, the same way I say, every city's got... There's something in every city for someone. I firmly believe that. Some cities just don't jive with me. LA is one. E3 was okay. LA, I was like, I hate this place. If you live there and like it, dude, I'm a little jealous. For many reasons, It's a cultural hotbed. If you like that kind of weather, it's perfect for you. If you're part of the car culture, congratulations. You got In-N-Out Burgers, great Mexican food. Lots of stuff that I could theoretically get down with, but I was like, why are so many people so vain and superficial here? I mean, in Vancouver they are as well, but like, not to your face. And also, I don't want to throw this. I only had sushi 2 or 3 times in LA, but I gotta say, for a West Coast city, I expected a little better. I didn't expect, Michelin star Jiro Dreams of Sushi, but I expected a little better. Just saying. I know cities take their food identity very seriously. So I'm not trying to offend anybody. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, so basically the gist of this video is I don't like LA. But that's fine. You know who I do like? EVE. Especially if we can get a deal with the devil on this floor and get away from this 2.63 damage, which is, now that I think about it, actually horrible. I was like, why am I behind schedule for Boss Rush when we have such cool items? And the reason we're behind schedule for Boss Rush is because we have 2.63 damage. Of my own mistake, to be fair. Nothing. Shouldn't have picked up Blood Bag. But, there's a value proposition. I see HP, I take it. I'm on a CHP diet. I see HP, I eat it. I want to get a general gauge out there. What percentage of people in North America don't eat... This is like a Guespionage prompt. Don't like any kind of seafood. And I'm... Against my better and more like pedantic instincts, I'm going to say that fish does not count. Even though it's a food that comes from the sea, I understand it's so bad. At least we're going to get that, but... I understand when people say seafood, they usually mean bivalves, crustaceans, etc., etc. Cockles and mussels, alio, etc., etc. What percentage of people out there in North America consume no kind of seafood? You gotta factor in probably like maybe 3% of the population's allergic. And then on top of that, I'm kind of thinking 28%. I was gonna say 1 in 4 people don't like seafood, plus a little fudge factor for medical concerns. How do you think that fares? I love seafood. I eat all kinds of gross seafoods, or seafoods that other people would consider gross. Raw oysters, cooked oysters. Let me give you something that's gonna blow your mind. Having had a lot of both, I prefer a raw oyster to a cooked one. It's slimy, but there's something about like when you eat it raw, it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to say that it feels pure or something like that, but it's just like, It feels like that's the way it's meant to be consumed. When you eat a fried oyster, which I will do on many occasions, still love it. But it does kind of feel like something went wrong at the fried chicken experiment at the World's Fair. You're like, why does this chicken have 25 different consistencies inside of it? And also, the chicken is goo. It's very lucky to get a 3rd level Super Meat Boy here. If we can get a level 4, that's an achievement that's extremely annoying, taken care of basically immediately. I'm always surprised. The percentage of people that eat no seafood and also don't eat fish, I gotta figure that's like 10%. It's gotta be a little bit lower because fish is so commonly consumed. I mean, you might as well take them both. Your death's list has appeared in the basement. The coupon has appeared in the basement. Judgment. I'd like to get 1 red heart if you don't mind. Why did I place this guy at the door? It's very, very stupid. Hey, I should have picked it up, but I do not want it. We're good. We're good. This is a great run now. I'm not, you know, you can like what you like. Sincerely, I'm not one of... People, for some reason, there's like, if you don't like a certain kind of music, people are like, leave him alone. He can like what he likes. But if you don't like a certain kind of food, people go, are you crazy? And to me, they're like one and the same. You know, there's foods that I didn't like the first time I ate them, and now I love them. Like, I disagree with Austin's assessment. And Austin, here's a little dirty secret about Austin. He embellishes his own opinions on his show to make them more extravagant in order to elicit a reaction. And what's funny is I understand that curse all too well. As somebody who also does exactly the same thing, and then later sees comments that are like, man, NL's opinion is really bad. Like, I feel bad, even though in my head I'm like, well, that's not really my opinion. It's like a self-imposed curse, where I'm like, food poisoning doesn't exist. When actually my point is like, you know, I think it's misdiagnosed a lot because people don't go to the doctor for it, and then whenever they have diarrhea, they go, oh, it probably was that Taco Bell I ate the other night. But anyway, but he did say, and I'll disagree with this and I'll take him at face value as if he meant it. He did say, like, an acquired taste is a bad food that you trick yourself into thinking is good. I think his greater point was that to some extent, you know, if you like a food that's an acquired taste, you're putting on airs, you want to seem sophisticated. Like, oh, moldy food. Delicious. Aren't I an aristocrat? And I think maybe there are some foods like that. I can't think of what they would be, but beer and coffee are not one of them. I'll tell you that. I invested the time. I love coffee. I've developed a slight coffee palate, but beer is like... Tell you all about it. IBUs, ABVs, IPAs, Gosas, various sours. Love it. The palate for that has served me well. And occasionally not so well. But I think that the food and music are a little similar. Like, I don't think anybody is gonna boot up like... Let me put it this way. You don't have like a 10-year-old kid... And you go, hey kid, listen to this, and it's like, you know, James Blake or something like that, or Dan Deacon. I think they're gonna be like, I don't understand what I'm listening to. But if you give them a chance to, you know, listen to it a few times, you know, contextualize it, learn what to expect, and etc., then it becomes, you know, they develop a palate for that sort of thing. That becomes something they can reference in the future to figure out what they like. And I think that's the same for food, you know. Always, it's very easy to give parents advice when you're not a parent, I'm sure, and some days you're probably like, just give that kid some chocolate to shut him up. And that's valid. I would love to be like, I'd never do that to my kid, but I mean, after 4,000 days of your kid being kind of a piece of garbage, you probably get a little tempted to just be like, please give that child what they want for now. Yo, Guppy and Guppy's hairball. Like, mommy needs a day off. You know what I mean? I'll take it just because we might as well take it. But sometimes parents, they always brag about when their kids like vegetables. They're like, I fed her a carrot and she loved it. Now she can't stop asking for carrots. Okay, good for you. This story's not about you. Congratulations on your, you know, future executive child. But people will be like, yeah, my kid doesn't like broccoli at all. I just can't get her to eat it. I'm like, have you tried, like, making them eat it? This is gonna sound very callous. And I don't subscribe to the idea that, you know, oh, well, the people these days are snowflakes, so my kid wants filet mignon dipped in a chocolate bar, okay, give it to him, otherwise it would be abuse. No, I'm not like that at all. But, like, you know, if you're cooking the meal and your kid is like, I don't like broccoli, I think you have an allegiance to them to be like, I don't believe you. Just for the first couple of times. That's my opinion. And I'm being sincere. Now, will I apply this in my own parental life? I don't know. I'll wait to see what people think about it, and then I'll admit to it publicly or not. But, like, if your kid has grown up drinking, you know, a human milk specifically designed for their consumption, and then you're getting them onto real foods, and they're like, I don't like cauliflower, you gotta feed it to them like at least 5 or 6 more times. Because I've firmly believed that when a kid says I don't like cauliflower, they have no palate, they have no context. They're like, what do you not like it compared to? Do you find the taste bad, or do you just find the taste not as good as like a dinosaur chicken nugget? If it physically repulses you, if you bite into it and you gag and it's not a fake gag, then that's one thing. Or if you're allergic, obviously that's something different. But if you're just like, I don't like it, I find it mildly unpleasant. I'm sorry, my 4-year-old. I will believe you eventually. But for the next week, there's going to be a little cauliflower at every meal. If after that week, you can tell me with a straight face, I put in my time, Dad, I don't want to eat any more cauliflower, I'll say, you know what? Fair enough. Broccoli starts now. And, in 3 years, I'm going to try feeding you some more cauliflower. See if your palate has changed. You know why? It's the same standards by which I live my own life. I don't like cauliflower. But sometimes, you know, you order a meal, comes with some steamed vegetables, there's some cauliflower. In my head, I go, I don't like cauliflower. What do? I eat it. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Sometimes I'm like, you know, kind of don't like it. But every time, I at least try it to see if it's changed. Because, like, you know, can't be wrong. In my opinion, at least. There's only a couple of foods, and I'm being sincere. Like, I will eat almost anything. Especially if somebody else is paying for it. Both out of politeness and a sense of cheapness. But there's only a few foods that if you were like, you had a plate of it and you offered it to me, I would say no. I don't really like hard-boiled eggs. I would never say yes to. I've had hundreds of them in my life. Just don't like them. Try them again on occasion. Is this a glamorous life, you know, to wake up and eat like half a hard-boiled egg for breakfast with a, you know, a little avocado or something like that? I'd be very much on brand in the West Coast if I could do that. But, you know, bean sprouts are another one. I do not really like bean sprouts. If they're in something, whatever, but just like bean sprouts by themselves, especially cooked ones, like raw bean sprouts, no problem. But apart from that, good to go. And you might be saying, like, that's not a nice thing to do for your kid, is to force them to eat foods they don't like. I kind of think that it is, though. And I don't think this conversation's fair, because I think most people will actually agree with me, because my demos skew a little bit more towards, like, the younger, childless male category. And I think it's a very, you know, 20-something male opinion to have, is like, I gotta raise my kid to like all foods. Maybe. But, you know, again, hour 17 of your kid being like, I don't want the cauliflower, I want dinosaur chicken nuggets, and you got work in the morning, you might be like, alright, I'm gonna make you some dinosaur chicken nuggets. And then once you do that, the kid wins. But maybe it's worth it, you know? But, you know, there's adults who are like, I only eat... Saw that Ninja Turtles lady on TV. She loves the Ninja Turtles, that's fine. For every meal, she eats pizza with mayonnaise on it. Not okay. I'm sorry to tell you. You can live your life however you want. I'm not making fun of you. I feel just bad, like somebody made a mistake and you got locked into this pizza plus mayonnaise thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe. If you want to see more Click right here to see more. Jeremy Johns, 2018. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow with more Isaac. See you. Or later today. I don't know when this video goes up. Haha.